engines fired up. It is qualifying heat B versus C for the Junior X30 category. And Daniel Motor and Archie Owen start this one on the front row. Daniel Motor now the new points leader. After that one needs to take a win here or a second to maintain that lead in the points. They go off the front row. Artur Didonka and Nicolas Garcia go from row number 2. They'll have Hugh Grana and Alex Pineda on row 3. Lucas Bonhomme and Daniel Kelleher go from row 4. They'll have Rock Pineda and Senna Meunier on row number 5. Dan Alleman and Jagarati Troja go from row number 6. Row number 7 sees Bink van Schijndel and George Edgar. They'll have Emilio Bernd and Scott Riley on row number 8. Raul Martinez and Jon Helder round up row number 9.
Didier Kreeft and Riley Cranham starts on the 10th row of the grid. Maxime Prudhomme and Vivienne Guillonnet are on row number 11. Mikhail Kari and Toby Gale need to move up from the 12th row of the grid. They are ahead of Elias Ebersdobler and Jaime Del Portillo on row 13. Rafael Kamal and Matteo Peruccio start on the 14th row of the grid, completing the top 30. It's Jana Adjeman and Nikita Nikashov. On row 16, Michaela Hart is alongside Evan Johnston. Gilles Herman starts alongside Katrina E on the 17th row of the grid. 35 runners in it, completed by Norway's Adrian Gjerde.
Well, again, last one for the juniors in this rotation, and possibly for today as well.
Yeah.
Of course, with this timetable being so fluid, it's worked as quickly as it possibly can. But we did try to squeeze so much racing in today, purely because we missed so much yesterday. Unfortunately, with those delays this morning with the fog, it just put us back even further in schedule.
Lost an hour at the start of the morning pretty much, and then lost another hour after the 2 senior races falling back from yesterday. So, you know, you do the maths. That would stick a junior next time out at 6 o'clock this evening. Well, it'll be dark by then, and this isn't a circuit that's floodlit. So this probably will be the final race for X30 Junior today. Eyes on those lights. Yeah, we're going to go around again. That is not a satisfactory formation, not to the standards kept by our race director, Martin Bean. I can see he has his index finger in the air to one of the drivers towards the back to say, yep, we're going to go around again. Yes, indeed. Another false start. Right, tyres talk. We were seeing them on the grid there as they came up on your screen. Fair few of them. You were saying there some of these drivers need to gain the positions. They are going for it now because a couple of them, especially high up as well, 10th and 12th row, you've got Didier Kreeft and Toby Gale. They have deployed brand new set of boots, full set as well. They're going to go for the full charge here as well, and there's a smattering of others just in the back of the field as well, who are all thinking this is our last attempt now to get through, because at the end of this one, yes, it will be the fact that, yeah, it's going to be superheats next, and drivers are going to be eliminated. By my numbers, I've got Didier Kreeft and Toby Gale both in the 50s in terms of intermediate classification, so they'd be okay for a superheat, but they'd be in that last third of the grid region where I always think it's a little bit like, well, thanks for coming. Yeah. Even a tremendous drive of 20 positions through the grid, there's simply too many points to turn over to get into the top 36. So I can see what they're trying to do there. They're trying to get those mid-50s positions down to, as I say, you can be 45th or higher in an IC at the end before a superheat. You stand a good chance with a good race in the superheat of getting ultimately into that top 36. No, exactly that. Here we go. This looks a little bit nicer this time around for qualifying heat B versus C. Lights go out. We are racing. Good stuff from the inside line. And the car probably chassis of the MDC Racing. Daniel Motor holds on to the lead, but he's opened up that inside line and is going to try and get the move down the inside. Does Artur Didonka, but can't quite do it. He's gone down to 3rd place now, and it looks like the BMR of Archie Owen has held on to 2nd place now and is pushing up nicely with the rest of the field. Once again, you've got drivers running off wide. You've got one driver going backwards now the wrong way on the circuit. He's going to rejoin all the way on the other side of the barrier. I can't quite see the number on that one. I think it was Daniel Kelleher, actually, in the DMS, the Irishman, in the number 59, I think, completely missing one of the timing beams. Yeah, so he's gone round the back of those and has not clocked through sector number 1. A bit of a wild ride for the Irish driver there. Back at the front of the order. So remember the situation for Daniel Motor. If he wins this race, he'll be top of the table at the end of this round. I think if he finishes second as well, yeah, he would he'd be tied on points with Benjamin Maniac, but that's when we'd go back to Tuesday's timed qualifying results on that relatively sunny afternoon in comparison to the conditions that we've got here. Archie Owen's got something to say about that though, Anthony. He's there in second place. Quick check over the shoulder to assess where Arthur Dodonka is. Tell you, he's had a great start as well. 12 positions gained. Keep an eye on the black and white victory lane. Number 17, Scott Riley for the Republic of Ireland, has had a tremendous run through the field. Also, George Edgar, who seemed to come alive in the previous round yesterday, up 8 positions, is now 6th.
Yep, certainly so. They are pushing themselves along nicely in this one, and you can see the victory lane driver just there on your screen, just coming into shot behind these top 3. So he is part of a lead train there. Jograna just behind, and George Edgar, like you were saying, Senwiner also just there. Alex Pineda closing in as well. But these 3 are in a good position right now. If they don't squabble and stay like this, they can use that slipstream, the bump draft, push themselves away from the likes of Scott Riley, who's closed in. But like I say, Scott Riley's pace, very, very strong here.
Indeed, 1 minute 5.6 that time around. He's not the fastest driver on the grid. Here goes Archie Owen down the inside. Lovely move. Arthur Dodonka follows through as well. So that changes things in the intermediate classification, because it would put Motor now on to 3 points for this race. 2 + 3 = 5. Benjamin Maniac is your new life points leader in X30 Junior, but there's still a good way to go in this heat between groups B and C. Into turn 7, Archie Owen starting to turn the pace up now. Now he's got some clear air ahead of him. Now he can stretch his legs. 5th, 18th and 7th are the results so far this week for the Briton. For Arthur Dodonka, who's had some really good race pace, was second in the second round, 8th and 14th in the first and third rounds, but has always been there or thereabouts. He's had a bit of bad luck in the latter stages of these races. Let's see what Dodonka can do. Flying the flag for the United Arab Emirates. Look behind as well. Here comes George Edgar down the inside for Mick Barrett Racing. Good move there past Scott Riley for 4th place as new race leader. Dodonka is through. Yep,
indeed. And with that happening as well, this is going to allow those 2 behind to close in. I'm sure Edgar and Riley are just going to think, right, okay, let's push. Let's push now. They keep squabbling. We will close in. We'll make this a 5-kart fight at the front. And for Daniel Motor, that's a crucial position change. That puts him back on pole position for the Superheat 1 or Superheat A tomorrow. It will put Maniac on pole position for Superheat B tomorrow. But this one is going to be a very interesting situation. So can Motor hold on to that position? Archie Owen's going to make it super difficult for it. So is Arthur Dodonka. Nikita Nikishov, though, in this race, well, he was a quick driver, is Nikita Nikishov, but unfortunately at this year's IWF, we've just not seen the best of him, have we?
No, number 9 plate, number 9 seed from IES earlier in the year. Really all from qualifying, 87th in qualifying. Has left him a big mountain to climb, and he had a 34th place for his first race. It doesn't look like it's going to be Nikishov's year. Top 3 remaining line astern. I think that's because they're aware of the pace that George Edgar's got at the moment. Motor's going to take the opportunity to go down the inside of Dodonka and retake the race lead. It's almost like team cycling at the moment. It's like a rolling team time trial to keep up ahead of George Edgar. But the problem for them is George Edgar is flying. He just took at least 2/10 out of each of these drivers in the first sector alone. He's only 6/10 back. That's not a 6/10 gap if I've ever seen one on the screen. That is a narrowing gap for George Edgar, who this season is, again, one of those drivers who had to grow into the X30 Junior category. We often talk, don't we, mate, about how difficult the jump from the Mini to the Junior is. Arguably the hardest of them all. George Edgar has definitely got on top of Junior categories now, as here goes a move from Owen on Motor for the race lead into turn 1. That's a brave move from Archie Owen. Sweeps by Owen's going to defend into turn 2, and this all is good news for George Edgar. There he is in the red and white with a little bit of silver. Mick Barrett Racing Machine is closed right in. It's looking good here in 4th place.
He certainly is. He's right there now with the fight, and now you can see Scott Riley's going to have the company behind as well. Pineda and Dan Aleman, they are going to be right on this fight as well. But Owen's managed to open up a little bit of a gap here. But I'm really impressed with Edgar's pace. He's already up to 3rd place now. As a little late on the brakes there was Dodonka. And now he's going to have to try and squeeze this one back. Motor's down to P4 now. This loses him that pole position as through goes Edgar. Edgar's pace, I was just talking about it. He broke away from Scott Riley after overtaking on it. He didn't have to slipstream or anything like that. He caught up to this group all by himself, and the pace he's got right now in this, he is going to close in on Owen on this final lap. I reckon he could challenge for the lead, even though there is a gap between them, as here we go. He's going to immediately go for it. That's a huge gap he's closed in, and Edgar now leads the way in this one.
But the question is, has he gone too early? Because now he's in the position where he'll have to defend through a number of overtaking opportunities for the rest of the field. And look, they're all coming in now. Pinera, Alleman, Cranham's in there. Also, Bonham and Manier. It's a top 10. All with a chance. George Edgar is going to have to defend down into turn 7, you think, because Archie Owen is within striking distance. Oh, he dares to open the door. Has he gone a little bit too deep? No, he's got that under control. He'll have to stay to driver's right through 8. This could be a big win for George Edgar, who started this race 14th on the grid. Into sector 3 now. Archie Owen is at the kind of distance where he could get the toe out of turn 14 and 15. This has got to be a good exit for George Edgar. Can he get the speed going? Archie Owen's right there. It's going to be another one of those classics where it runs to the line. It's side by side between the two Britons. Edgar holds on by 0.037 of a second. George Edgar wins. Archie Owen P2. Arthur Dodonka finishes P3. Daniel Motors 4th place means provisionally he will be on pole position for Superheat B tomorrow. And for Benjamin Maniac, that result puts him to the top of the intermediate classification. Good drives as well. 11 places gained for Scott Riley for victory lane, and Riley Cranham, similar to what we said about Zach Green in the previous race. Don't count out Riley Cranham. Gain of 14 places in that one to P6 for Fusion Motorsport. He's still very much in play.
Certainly is, but there for George Edgar, what a drive that is. 13 places gained. A brilliant end to, I suspect, the day here. Of course, that's provisional, of course, but from what we can suss, I think that's going to be it for the juniors today. And for them, that's put them in a really strong spot. Benjamin Maniac will lead the points then going into tomorrow from Motor. Craigie from Mackie back to 4th in the points haggling. Purcell, Krakowskis and Green 8th. But they're the results. Edgar from Owen, Dodonka from Motor, Riley from Cranham. Then it's Pinera from Aleman, Bonhomme from Senna, Runner and Helder, Krieft, Garcia and Nikashov, the top 15. Gale from Gunaway and the rest of the field as well as they push themselves through.